Not every short stay story starts with a tenant. Some starts with a landlord who decides, I'm done with boring long-term rentals. I want the big money. That was Mark. He owned a small portfolio of units in a mid-range complex. Nothing fancy, not slums either. Standard rentals, standard leases, standard headaches. He watched a video one night that said, landlords, you're leaving 3x on the table. Switch to Airbnb. It got under his skin. Why was he dealing with tenants, bonds, inspections, and fixed rents when other people were pulling in thousands a week on the same square meters? He deep dived. Courses, mentors, Facebook groups full of superhosts. They told him what he wanted to hear. Guests are easier than tenants. You can always block off dates for yourself. You'll be liquid. No more waiting a year to adjust rent. What they didn't really talk about was buildings that weren't built, legally or practically, to be hotels. Mark started by converting one unit to short stay. He furnished it, hired cleaners, got the listing up. It booked well. He thought, why did I wait so long to do this? He converted a second, then a third. That's when the building started to feel it. The lift suddenly had luggage traffic almost every day. Strangers buzzed intercoms at all hours. The bins overflowed more often from constant turnovers. Security noticed an uptick in "I don't actually live here" moments. Residents began to ask, is this a hotel now or a home? Complaints went to the Strata Committee. The committee looked at the bylaws. They looked at council guidelines. Then they looked at Mark. He got called into a meeting. Polite at first, then less so. They raised concerns about security risk, potential breaches of bylaws around commercial use, pressure from other owners who didn't want their homes turning into a revolving door. Mark tried to argue that he was just meeting market demand, that he was providing flexible accommodation, that his guests were usually very respectful. But by that point, perception had turned. It wasn't about his guests. It was about the building's identity. Was this a place where people lived, or a place people passed through for 2 nights and never saw again? Under pressure, Strata moved to tighten rules. They explored enforcement options. They sent letters to all owners saying short stay was not permitted. They made it clear that compliance was not optional. Suddenly, the numbers changed. His high-income units were now legal liabilities. If he ignored the rules, he risked fines. Legal orders, insurance issues, a building community that actively disliked him. Mark realized something. He tried to turn a home building into a hotel building without asking if the building wanted that. He shut down the short stay listings. But he didn't want to just go back to old-school rentals. He still believed in smarter ways to use space. He just knew now that short stay was a blunt instrument. That's when someone introduced him to Hometrash. This time, the pitch was different. It didn't promise 3x rent overnight. It promised better utilization of space through structured flat sharing, systems for finding, screening, and managing multiple long-term occupants, ways to make a multi-bedroom unit cash flow in a way that felt sustainable. He used Hometrash not as a tenant, but as a landlord with a new philosophy. I don't need my building to be a hotel. I just need my units to be run more intelligently. Instead of one family per unit, he started structuring some units as deliberate flat shares, clear room pricing, agreements aligned with normal rental expectations, long-term occupants who actually live there and integrate into the building. The building barely noticed the change because it was still at its core a residential building. But Mark noticed the numbers. He could offer inclusive room rents that felt fair to people struggling with the market, while still improving his overall return, without playing legal chicken with Strata and Council. Short stay had taught him that not all buildings want to be hotels. Hometrash showed that homes, done smarter, could still be good business.